Now it's recording. Hario. There we are. Ready for a new round. Is there anybody who is ready to come in straight away? Please come.
Hello, Werner.
Hello. Oh, I have to put speaker view to see you big. Now I see you. Hello.
Hello.
How is it going in Denmark?
Oh yeah, what to say, huh? I think, I mean, we are in quite a good position compared to many other countries.
Yeah, nice.
But it's like the combination of more restrictions, more darkness, more autumn.
Right.
It's a little bit heavier.
Yeah, right.
And for me personally, we had last Friday, our government came with new restrictions. And I run a yoga center, and I must say this time it was just like, oh no, because we all the time have to adapt.
Yes.
And yeah, and I got a little bit tired, I must say, since last Friday.
Right, and yeah. I guess many other people too, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. What to do?
Do you have a curfew that in the night you are not allowed to go out and so?
No, that's what I mean. It's very mild in Denmark, and I must say I very much agree with what the government is doing. So that's a big help. I don't have resistance.
Yeah.
So it's very light. So the Danish government was the only one in the spring who said that the mask is no use. So we didn't use mask until lately.
I see.
The only place in the world. And now we have to use mask more places, like in supermarkets and so. But we can still move around. Alcohol is banned after 10 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
For me, it's okay.
No problem, huh?
Yeah, so yeah, we can move freely all over the country. So.
Oh yeah. No.
It's mild. Yeah, but it's dark.
It's dark on top of that.
We're in the north. Yeah, cold is coming. Yeah, but my question is about self-inquiry.
Yeah, okay, let's go to self-inquiry.
Yes.
Who is experiencing all that stuff? Huh?
Yes, because the thing is, I don't really get it. So for many years I was doing like yoga meditation on more focusing on chakras or breathing or things like that. Then 20 years ago I met Thich Nhat Hanh, and I was introduced to mindfulness meditation. That was a huge shift for me because it took the meditation from the map and into my everyday life in all what I do. And I've been very happy with that. So that's the witnessing position, and that's been very useful for me. And then I came across the self-inquiry. I think 5 years ago, I was at a Satsang with Swami Atmananda. He was in Denmark. And of course, I've been seeing in, the spiritual bookshops in India, I have been seeing all these books with Who Am I, but it never really, I never picked them up.
Yeah.
But then I got a little bit fascinated from this idea, this is a shortcut and this is the fast way. But I just don't get it. It's like, I can have some inspiration from, stopping if I get involved in the drama and my thinking and just ask myself, okay, who's this happening to? But then when I try to apply it in the meditation, it just doesn't work for me. It's like if I try when I'm in the witnessing, I get into the thinking. If I try to bring the awareness back to itself, I just don't get how to do it. That step, it doesn't happen. Then I get into the thinking, and then, I mean, yeah.
But do you think it's not that you felt specially attracted to self-inquiry, so you simply thought it's a shortcut?
Yes. Yes, let's get there as fast as possible.
Right. And that's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's not shorter than any other way. It depends how you do it. But I mean, any practice that you do in the beginning, you may be more focused on the details of the practice, but then if that practice goes deeper, then you become aware of awareness, even without having the concept. And that's what self-inquiry is aiming at. So if it really, really repels you rather than that you start to like it, then you don't have to compel yourself to continue. But you can try to combine it with being aware of the breath. That helps to make it a bit more juicy. And what you said, it's exactly that. You said it helps you sometimes when you are in company and then you are asking yourself the question, but who is experiencing that? That's like you stop for a moment. Actually, that's what it is, the question. It's a mind stopper. It's not a question that ever will get an answer.
No.
No.
So far, so good.
You are the answer. You are the answer. There is no answer to it. But it helps when the mind is busy to ask the question that at least for a moment it's like a stopper. Hey, stop. Then for a moment it's quiet. But it's then more that you shift when you sit in meditation, especially. If you are busy and once in a while you do the question and it helps you to come back, that's very good, that's very helpful. But you said in meditation it doesn't work like that. Yeah, you are in meditation, you are more aware what's going on in the mind than when you are busy. And so you understand that simply asking the question is not doing a miracle.
No.
No, you were wanting a miracle and it is not happening. But it's still, it can help when the thoughts are there. You're asking the question, but who is thinking all this? That for a moment it simply cuts the flow of the thoughts. But then try more just to be. Try more to focus more on that sense of being there, that sense of I am, then more than who am I, but just I am. You can even shift first from the thought, from the question, who am I? Who is thinking? I. Who am I? And then shift to the thought, I am. I am. But then try to shift further to focus your attention on that sense of presence that you are touching when you say I am. Not simply the thought I am, but when you say I am, immediately your attention touches something so totally familiar that has been there all your life, whether you gave it attention or not. It's there first, and then after that, all the other experiences happen. Without that, nothing happens. Nothing is there. So shift your attention on that, and it helps if you, for a few times, may repeat the thought, Hey, hey, then, again. They just relax. But if it's somehow too difficult to stay with that, it can be very helpful if that feels attractive, that you simultaneously are aware of the breath. You still do your inquiry. You still stay with that I am. Then from the Atma Vichara, it becomes more Atma Dhyanam, that you just stay with that I am. And if that is somehow the mind craves more to hold on to, because it's very subtle, it is very helpful if at the same time stay with that I am, but at the same time you just consciously breathe in, breathe out, and relax.
Yeah, what I can see, because I'm trying to do it while you talk, is that if I go with the breathing into I am, it's more, sensation is not the right word, but it's different. It's not a thinking, like asking who am I. It gets me into the thinking. Whereas breathing into I am, it's more like a perception or a sensation or feeling of it, or absorbed into it. Yeah.
Right, and then just dive into that sensation. Just
I can relate into that.
Yes, you can try like that.
Yeah.
And then when you're active in a crowd, talking to people, it's still good. Just then sometimes, as you did, sometimes just ask the question, but who is hearing all this? Who is thinking all this? Who is talking all this? At least for a moment, boom, it stops. All right?
Yes.
Try it.
Thank you. I do.
And then if it still doesn't work, we can talk again.
Okay.
Wish you well.
Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
Anyone who would like to come, please come.
Werner.
Hello, I hear a voice. I don't see anybody.
You cannot see?
No, I hear your voice. I cannot see you.
My video is on.
Ah, there you are. Now I see you.
Okay.
Hello, Andrea.
Hi. I have a question a bit down that line of the inquiry.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you if you have maybe some extra advice when it comes to strong identification. Because sometimes, like you say, when I inquire who's feeling this, who's seeing this, the mind stops and there is this feeling of presence. Yes. But when the identification is very strong, sometimes it's like I can see very clearly when there is a recurring thought and I ask who is thinking this, and there is this very strong personality, is a character that she feels a certain way, and the identification to her is very strong. So when trying to look at her, it's not working, or the mind stops for a few seconds, but then it comes back.
Yes.
So I wonder if there is any advice you have to deal with these very strong identifications, because I also find that they are recurring. Like if I look who is behind most of the thoughts I have during the day, it's the same main characters, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, there is not the character who is behind it. I mean, your personality is forming the flavor of the thoughts, but that which makes the thoughts possible is prior to that. And the question actually, who is a little bit misleading, because then immediately in the mind we look for some person, for somebody.
Yes.
And if that somehow disturbs, then you can also ask, what am I? Instead of who. Then you're looking less for somebody. But anyhow, you said it's now you're disappeared again. Somebody, I think somebody is interfering. Please turn everybody else, please turn off your microphone. Okay, you said you asked a question for a moment, it may stop and then it immediately comes back. What you're describing is the problem of, of everybody else too. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful if we just could ask the question, "Who am I?" and then the mind shuts up, and that's the end of the story. Then, when you become aware, oh, there I'm going again. You start again. Then, who am I? Who is thinking? What is thinking? I am, and you come back, and then gradually. You can stay longer in it, but then you go again. That's the job. That's how it goes. Don't get disheartened and think that you do something wrong. It's just how it goes. The old identification is so strong that invariably, a moment that there is a gap, then in panic, it immediately takes over again.
Okay, because I find that, like you say, the more subtle thoughts, I feel that naturally I inquire for a what, and they are quite abstract, so they truly dissolve, but I truly find a few characters in there, like it was a play that are very strong, you know, like the victim or the fearful woman, you know, they are very, very much personified. So you think even this one, even when it feels like a very solid character from a play, I should try to see her more like a what than like a who?
As you like.
Correctly?
As you like. It's not that I'm saying now you should the what, but if the who makes you feel that you're looking for a person, then it helps at least in between that you rather ask, but what is thinking? What am I? But when you see these strong characters that are there, that are in everybody, they are different according to our conditioning, according to our upbringing, according to the traumas that we have collected while growing up. And some of them, they don't want to let go. They just stick and stick and stick, and they don't want to let go. But if you perceive such a character, then you can immediately also ask, but who, what is perceiving, what is seeing this character? Then it helps you to become aware, but actually you are not that character. There is something that is outside observing that character. It's just when I'm not attentive, then whoop, the identification comes, and then I'm back in the old room, in the old mill, going round and round. But then when you become aware, you do it again. And when you see that character, you objectify the character. Oh yes, I see that, I know that, I know that one. Only too well. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe from looking at it too much, I'm almost making it too serious and too real. I like the perspective to focus more on the what than...
Yes, you look at it, you observe it, but then don't get stuck with the observation, with the object of observation, but bring the attention back to that subtle power, to that subtle existence, to that subtle consciousness, the love of existence that makes the whole experience possible. The mind cannot grasp this, but just the fact that you open up to become subtler and subtler and subtler in your perception, that we can still grasp, and we can open up in that direction, and then somehow you just go into that. You just let go, and then it goes.
Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Good luck. I just say something in the context. One friend asked me, but how do we stop the suffering? How do we stop the mind that goes round and round and round and round? That is creating the suffering. And this question was asked in the context of problems that come out of a relationship. The relationship, the source of so many problems, the source where we really create problems in our mind all the time. The whole world is full of relationship problems. Now, how are we going to stop that mechanism that the mind is just going on and on and on? We have the tendency, especially when we are so strongly emotionally involved, like in a relationship, in a close, intimate relationship, then emotionally people are so strongly involved that automatically one has the tendency to pick up things and after that think around them. Nice things and think around them and be happy and dream about or then we pick up something that is irking, something that is nagging, and then because of the strong emotion that is empowered. And if we are not careful, the mind has the tendency to really hook in it. Sometimes it can be ridiculous, little things, but still, once we hook in it, then the tendency is that we just turn around and think about it and over and the same story and create our fears, create our anxiety, create so many emotions with the idea what could come out of it or what should not be because it's like this. It's all self-mind created. That whole pain that we can experience like this, it's something that I'm doing to myself. It's not the partner, it's not the outside world. I am doing that to myself. Of course, in a relationship, a partner sometimes may behave in ways that we really don't like. First, we can somehow deal with ourselves, with our reaction, and if we still feel something is not quite okay, then it's the time to talk about and see whether we can somehow adjust and meet each other. Now, that friend who asked me these questions said that they don't want to really talk because of the fear that if I'm talking, there may be rejection. And of course, that's again something that we are creating ourselves. If first, in a situation that we can't handle easily, first we look at ourselves and we learn to let go of all the tensions that we are unnecessarily creating in ourselves. But after that, it's still clear somehow what is happening is not to my satisfaction, and somehow this should change. Then we should open up, we should talk about it. And then when the fear comes, but if I talk about this, that may create problems, that may create rejection, then, I mean, if it really leads to that, if when we are talking, it leads to rejection, it leads to a break, then maybe it is better that relationship does break. Because if a relationship cannot tolerate that we bring up our doubts, that we talk about our profound feeling, then it's not really worth to continue that relationship. If we cannot be open, if we cannot be honest, if we cannot, I mean, it's right that we not always blab out every damn thing that goes through the head, every damn thing that we could criticize, every damn thing that the partner is doing, that I don't like this, I don't like that. No, no. Let's first make order in our own mind. But if there is profoundly something disturbing, then out of fear not to communicate it is simply prolonging, extending the pain, because then this will remain, that fear will remain, that oh, maybe if I'm coming out with that, then it may break the whole relationship to pieces. But if it is breaking the relationship to pieces, then after all, the relationship even now is an illusion. It's not really what we try to imagine. It's not really what we think it should be. So learn to have the courage when you feel that it is really necessary, that something should be talked about, then to come out with it as friendly, as neutral as possible. But it's then in that situation, it's better to really risk that it may turn sour. Because if that is enough to turn the relationship sour, then even now it's not what you think it is. Then for the fun moments in between, you may delude yourself, okay, after all, we have a good relationship, but if that fear is there, if I cannot be honest, if I cannot be open, then how can we live together? How can we really be close? So I would recommend to talk as centered, as relaxed as possible. And if before that fear comes, oh, but if I'm talking, I may be rejected. If that fear comes, then don't hook into the thought, but watch that fear and see, oh, now the fear comes again. And deal with the fear. Watch the fear, how it is manifesting in your body, how it is manifesting energetically, and relax. And don't let that fear block you from doing something that deep down you really feel needs to be done. That somehow the space needs to be cleared up. Because if we don't clear up the space, then that nagging that makes you suffer will be there, and we just extend it, extend it, extend it. When we talk, then there is a chance that that nagging disappears. When we talk, there is a chance that the space is really clearing up. But there is also a chance that because of our talking, it comes up to the surface that simply it's crystallizing, that we become aware. We are seeing the things just too different, just too incompatible, that maybe it's just not possible. But there is a big chance that if we honestly come out, that after that it may storm for a moment, but then if we keep it up, if we keep up the goodwill and come back to that neutral space again and again, it's a good chance that stuff that is there hanging, creating an unpleasant space between the two, that we can remove that. And actually after that it's much better. When I was young, I was always, we have to talk and discuss and discuss and discuss everything. Because I was also growing up in a family where I could watch the parents that they couldn't really deep talk together. So my reaction was that we should always talk and talk and talk and talk. But now I don't think like this. First, when there is a problem in the mind, look at yourself. See what I'm doing to myself. See how I'm reacting. Oh my God. The neighbor starts doing that thing. Oh, it's not. I thought he's just coming right beside here with his spraying his poison in his field, but it's a bit further away. I hope you can still hear me clearly. First, we don't have to always talk and talk and talk about the little problems in the relationship, but when things nag, have a good look at yourself. Most of the time we say, it's not worth the problem. I can adjust, I can let go my reaction, and already there is no problem. But if there is a problem that persists, then not talking is simply extending the suffering. The suffering that you would like to avoid by not talking. But it's the opposite. By not talking in this case, then you prolong the talking, the suffering. You will have moments where you can override it and think, after all, it's so wonderful, we have it so nice, but it will come back nagging, and if you don't want it anymore, somehow you have to clear the space. How do I stop that mind that is going round and round and round and round? By at least we can reduce it, at least we can calm it down by not feeding the emotions, by not being afraid of the emotions, by not being afraid of being afraid. But when there is a little fear, with the idea that if I go and bring out my view and it may lead to rejection, then a little fear may be there, but then what makes it really strong is that I'm afraid of that fear and boost it up. And the more we are boosting up the emotions, the more the mind will go uncontrollably round and round and round and round and round. So watch your emotions, and then when you consciously watch your emotion, detach from what brought the emotion about and come back home here now and deal with that emotion here now, right now. See what it is doing to you physically, energetically, and relax, let go. And then gradually the emotion that we have created, that we have boosted up so much, they get less powerful, and then it's also easier not to think about things all the time and make yourself suffering like this. But really, if it's not a little thing, but something that needs to be cleared out in the space between the two of you, then have the courage and talk about it, taking in your stride that the consequences may be that it is much better, that the space is much clearer, or the consequences may be that we take more of a distance. Isn't it better to have more of a distance and you stop suffering than to keep it up and keep on suffering because of it? anyhow, my friend, the person didn't want to be called by name, so I wish you well, all the best. Hari Om, Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to talk? Please come in.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Hello, Sri Dev. Just, do you hear that motor sound very loud?
Not so loud. I
You
can
hear me
hear
clearly.
you very well. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine which says that the realization that give self-inquiry is not enough. Because he says that it's only realization of the witness, Purusha. And then he's a specialist of Dokchen.
Of?
And he say
Dokchen.
Dokchen, Tibetan Dokchen.
Right, right. Yeah.
He said that after that realization, you have to sit again and again until reach samadhi state and experience samadhi again and again until your boundary and your personality totally dissolve and you are one with universe. So he said basically that the first realization is realization of the witness of it's like a bit outside of manifestation, and the second one is to include the manifestation. So should I because basically I mainly do self-inquiry.
Yeah.
But should I start to meditate more and to experience samadhi eventually later?
You cannot, I mean, people use that word samadhi in very different, many different ways. And many people already, when they have a bit quiet meditation, they come out and talk about their samadhi, blah, blah. But real samadhi is not something that you really can induce. It's a manifestation of grace, and it doesn't matter at all what kind of sadhana you are doing, that this can happen. It's not something that with this technique that cannot happen, but with that technique it can happen. People always have the tendency with whatever they are doing that they somehow feel that need to attach that label that this is the best or maybe the only way to go about it. That's simply to reassure themselves that what they are doing is good. Don't listen to all this kind of stuff, what under all these exact descriptions, what that realization, what it is about. Just don't stop. And it doesn't matter what you are doing. And if you like your inquiry, then stay with your inquiry. You ask, should I meditate instead? But your inquiry is your meditation. And then just don't stop. Don't stop at the point and think, this is the end of inquiry. Now I got it. Now I realized it. Just keep on that openness to go beyond and go beyond. If you do that, then you can stay with that inquiry. If you feel the need to include something, some other way of going about, you can very well do so, but not because somebody tells you you need to do so, because if you don't do that, you will be stuck somewhere. You can just do no other meditation at all, but just consciously breathe in and breathe out and become subtler and subtler and subtler and subtler, and you need not worry about any other technique. I'm simply saying so to say, to make clear, it's not that you need the perfect magic technique to finally go to the ultimate achievement. You may achieve certain things with certain techniques. If you concentrate on certain things, then you may have certain rewards, you may have certain experiences, but it's not about the essence. If you really are interested to be more alert, more conscious of the essence, then just do that which is the most natural for you to do and continue doing that as a help, because it's very difficult to totally abstractly just connect with that. So it's easier if you have a help, like the inquiry, like this technique, like that technique, knowing the technique is not important. So if somebody else comes and says, my technique is better because with your technique you can go only that far and with my technique you go beyond, then that is their delusion. Don't take that kind of stuff serious. And don't let it create problem in your mind, in your practice. Do that which you feel is your most natural to do. Maybe today it's not the same that you did 10 years ago, but stay with what is good for you and then just go deeper and become subtler in it. And don't stop.
Okay. In my sadhana, I had few glimpse of realization, and every time I feel a little bit personal. This realization is like in a card box. So I listen to your advice to breathe and relax and try to dissolve in this presence sense of spaciousness, but it's still very limited. So I don't know how to explore the limitation of the identity, or
how to break through, huh?
Yes, I want to die somehow as a person.
Right. But since there is no such person, there's nobody to die there. No, how to do it's very simple. You just sincerely continue. That is the magic.
Okay.
I know, I have been always wanting, looking for the magic trick. How can I break through? I used to ask Amma, but what's wrong? Where is the mistake? What else do I need to do? And she said, the idea that there is a mistake, that is the mistake.
Yes.
Right. And the idea that there is that maybe that magic trick, that if I catch that trick, then it will work. That opens up that when another man comes and tells you what your friend told you about Dzogchen, that this goes way beyond, then you are vulnerable because you're looking for the magic trick. But the magic trick is, there is no such magic trick. The magic trick is your sincerity, that you don't give up, that you keep on it, at it, no matter what. Even if you feel it's not doing something, that you don't give up. That is the magic that is required. And then the second aspect of that same magic, then we have to have patience.
Yes, okay. So to be constant is more important than to be intense. To be regular,
right.
Constant effort.
Regular is important.
Yeah.
And that makes you automatically intense. It's not that if a few jumps of intensity that you can achieve more than like, but if you feel, I mean, now anyhow you are here and you are stranded here in the situation, but if the life becomes more active and someone feels, I want more intensity by in between making retreats, that's perfectly fine. But then just don't give up and keep going. Regularity is very helpful. But even if somebody stops a moment and then they start again, they start in a way where they stopped. But it's better to keep something up. And then when there is more time and when there is more enthusiasm, we can also intensify. And then when there is less time and when there is less enthusiasm and one has to rather push a bit to do something, then we can reduce, but it's better not to completely stop it, because after that it's more difficult to get started again. It's better to, okay, accept now for some time I'm reducing my regular practice because somehow I can't. It's not so easy, but don't give it up completely. That regular daily practice is a jewel. It's very, very helpful. But then we should learn to more and more extend that practice also when we are not officially practicing. But not like grinding our teeth and practice whatever we are doing, but learn to be a bit light about it, playful about it. Oh, now for 2 hours I didn't have a moment. Got me, but now I'm back. And relax in that, playfully, in a not in a mode of a heavy duty in order to get somewhere, but in a playful way, just to make your present moment happier by becoming more intense. Just because you're being more happy, you are closer to yourself. If we can learn to develop that joyous, that playful aspect, then it's not more a heavy duty that we have to perform, hoping that eventually we are getting somewhere. Don't let people tell you, no, what you're doing, that's not good enough. It's not the technique, it's your sincerity, it's how really honest you are about that you want to dive into that essence of existence. That sincerity, that is the crucial factor, and not the technique. With any technique as a help, you can come to that. It's not some work and some don't work. People on the path, they have the tendency to talk that. Mine is the highest, the best, the straightest, the fastest, the easiest, whatever, because they need that still. But actually, it's just, it's a subtle spiritual ego. After all, I'm on a better trail than the other one. I'm better than the other one. Mine is better than his. There is no such thing. Techniques, they are just crutches. They help us. We can use them. But what matters is the sincerity of our longing for reality. That is the magic, and that is the one thing that finally helps you to cross all the obstacles and bring you home with any technique. Okay?
Okay, I see.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come? Please come.
Werner?
Yes. Oh, hello, Andrea, back again.
If no one else wants to ask, and if it's okay.
Yes, you're welcome.
Because it's a couple of questions, because you just mentioned grace, and I've also heard from many sources that finally you put in the effort, but it's up to grace, to realization is up to grace. And I was wondering if there is a way or an attitude to make oneself more receptive to grace, or how does it work?
You can't control grace. You can't order grace. Believe me, I tried. I tried all kinds of nonsense to force things about. It doesn't work. No, but we can invite grace. And the invitation is that we sincerely go about it, that we purify our mind, that we purify our heart, that with a pure heart we are longing for reality. And then go about our life, bringing that aspect in as good as we can. That is the invitation for grace to manifest. Even that we are doing that is already a manifestation of grace. Even that you are here in Tiruvannamalai now, stuck here in Tiruvannamalai instead of somewhere else, something brought you here is already a manifestation of grace. But sometimes in a life story, the grace may really come rushing and somehow transform the whole experience. It's not something we can do. It's not something we can control, but we can make ourselves available. And it's the same answer that I just gave to Shridev. The one thing that is the magic is our sincerity. And our sincerity comes when we have a good look at ourselves and see how much that we are creating pain and suffering in our life, unnecessary, and somewhere deep down we are really, really fed up with it. That we can say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I have had it. It's my birthright to be happy. It's my birthright to be real, to know reality. And if we go about our life, if we go about our practice with that sincerity, this is the best invitation for grace to manifest.
Thank you. So that's external intensity, because I was looking to that podcast you share when you tell your story. It was really interesting. And I saw how intense you were in your sadhana, like externally as well, you know, like so many long hours of meditation. And so this would not necessarily be the only way.
This would not necessarily be the only way. Actually, I wouldn't recommend that approach to many people. If my story is my story, your story is your story. I couldn't help it. And Amma saw that's how I'm functioning. So instead of telling to me, come on, relax, relax, let go, she saw that all I can do is fight and fight and fight at that time. So instead of telling me relax, she said, yes, yes, more, 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 more. I couldn't help it. That's my story. If somebody feels to do so, if they can't relax, if all they can do is fight, okay, then go and fight. It's a painful business. If somehow you have the grace to stick it out, eventually the structure will collapse. But it will also collapse if you go about it very sweetly, gently.
I see so many people who have this desperation for liberation, or I hear Amma saying that you need to scream and cry for God, and I just feel that for me, I don't know, I feel almost that if I was going to take this perspective of absolute desperation, the seeker becomes too strong, and the idea that there is a mind and that I am a victim of it becomes too real. Whether I feel like deep inside me that somehow like grace hasn't brought me here to then abandon me, you know, like I almost feel like deep inside, if this is my true nature, it has to happen, and that yeah, it can somehow be done gently, like sincerely but gently. But other times I compare myself with this like intensity, which is admirable, and it does make me doubt, am I being true? But it's yeah.
The intensity is how sincerely you are bringing your attention to the timelessness of the now. You may live quite a relaxed life, but if you do that, then your life is intense. It's, yes, Amma says these kind of things. Sri Ramakrishna used to say these kind of things, and I was always thinking of that, like Sri Ramakrishna said something like, if you really want God, if you really want to realize God, then you have, your attitude should be like somebody who is plunged under the water, and you keep him down, and then he can think of nothing else but to come up and breathe. Like that, your intensity should be. But then I used to pick that up and make a lot of noise about it, and it's still that me, Werner, who wants something. It was not that I wanted to let go of that Werner guy, but simply I, as Werner, wanted something that is served to me, that is expanding my Werner trick stuff. That I'm just getting more powerful, more something, knowledgeable, and maybe can parade in front of everybody else. The so-called enlightened person in front of the unenlightened. That intensity of longing does not necessarily mean that we're making a lot of noise and doing all kinds of crazy things. Actually, in my story, Amma was always saying, anyhow, increase your desire for realization. And I thought I'm already burning. And then gradually it was calming down. I was developing a little bit like patience. And in a way, I thought, actually, I'm not more having that burning, that fire I had before. And she said to me, actually, now you are longing more for God than before. And I thought, huh, what? But it's not that you have to make yourself suffer. As long as we can't help it, as long as me, I want something is so strong, then this invariably will happen, that we make ourselves suffer. But the sincerity is more that we let that I who want something go and learn to become natural.
Okay. So in a way also to give up that me that externally is trying to control things and make things go my way and complain if things don't happen how I want. If instead of that I am constantly turning into looking at my own mind and my identifications, and no matter, because you know sometimes like I'm in the inquiry or sensing the presence, but then something happens that put me too much in a bad mood. I don't care about anything, you know. So I guess that's more what I have to give up to be sincere, right? Is that what you mean by sincerity? To
and even if the bad mood comes, then don't fight the bad mood and watch the bad mood and make the bad mood means to go beyond it.
It's to stay the sadhana no matter what, and not okay.
As good as you can. It helps very much if you do every day for some time nothing else, but then remind yourself to be in touch with reality consciously as much as you can, no matter where you are, no matter what you are doing. And we can do it only when we remember.
Yes.
When we don't remember, then we don't remember, and the time just passes. But then the memory comes, and look where my attention is scattered all over the place. And there, consequently, when you become aware of that, just bring it back home. Not making a big fuss, not telling, oh, I'm no good, so much time I lost, and blah, blah, blah. It's already gone. Just come back home. Here, now, and relax in that. That's all we have to do.
Finally, the constant remembrance, just gently and softly, but okay. Thank you very much.
If we cannot differently, then we have to do forcibly. But it's a painful business and not really necessary. You can also shift it for a moment. You strain a bit and you relax. If you feel that you're getting more intensity, you can also a moment strain and then relax. And then even the straining becomes playful. There he goes again.
Yeah, but it's not too loud. It's just like a buzz in the background.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. I'm just watching whether he has the tendency to come here. I think it's not getting worse than that. I hope you can still hear me. It's not going to go very long. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Please come.
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Victor.
How are you?
Quite good. How are you?
I'm very sore today.
Very sore.
Yeah.
You were running like a mad?
I was today. I got up at 6 in the morning and I decided to go and walk a marathon. Yeah. It just happened.
It just happened.
And it happened. And interestingly, obviously, when you're walking for 7-8 hours with yourself, a lot of things come into the mind. And I always had a runatula in the right corner of my eye. That's always with me. So I felt comfortable. But at the same time, can you hear me? I know they've got the noise in the background there.
Can you hear? You can hear me, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
The noise is not so loud. It's louder for me than for you.
I guess my question is that I've read so much, you know, I studied so much Ramana and Advaita and all this stuff. And I kept on thinking to myself, when I got to 30 kilometers in my walk, I thought, I am the body. Because I could feel the body, you know. It made so much sense to me. It was all Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya Kosha, this holy trinity of body, breath, and sensations. That's all that was prevalent in the entire 41 kilometers today. And I actually felt very comfortable with that. I thought to myself, you know, to me that was real. It was an experience. It was it was a manifestation of my consciousness at the time. I just experienced the walk, you know, the rhythm of the breath and the pace and the 1, 2, 3, 4 breathing and the sensations, and the whole thing gelled. It just came, this beautiful funnel of understanding of this reality and that present moment experience. And it was completely physical, completely biological, just the body. And I thought to myself, you know what? And I, you know, kept on thinking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And the whole thing, I kept on thinking as I was walking, that's just a figment of the imagination. I am the body. I am this immortal, physical thing that just moves and it does its own thing. And I felt so comfortable. Yeah. Now I know that what I'm saying is contrary to all this stuff out there with, you know, who am I? I am not the body. I am not. I feel like I am the body. The mind feels like it's a figment thing. It just changes, it moves. But the body feels real to me. Yeah. And I just wanted to know from your wisdom, where I'm coming from, this is my experience today, you know, like my feet right now are burning. But it felt so, it just felt so real. It's to me, the rhythm of, you know, pranamaya, annamaya, just the body movement, breathing, and you just keep going. I mean, I could go and walk now for another 20 miles. I feel so strong. Yeah. And so I just wanted to know, I understand what they're trying to say, you know, that, you know, neti, I'm not this, I'm not the body. I feel like I am the body. Yeah. I actually remembered today when I read some of the dialogues of UG when he said, it is only the body that's immortal. Yeah. And I felt it so strongly today. Yeah. I just wanted to get your opinion on this because I'm so overwhelmed from my experience today, and I'm just sort of settling down and I feel so comfortable. And I just wanted to know from your wisdom.
When he comes again.
Oh no! The buzzer.
Right. Okay. I am not the body. It's an idea. I am the body. It's an idea.
Yeah.
Now, in the traditional Advaita Vedanta approach, you can go on that approach of neti, not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, until negate, until nothing is there to negate. But then you can also do the exact opposite. You can just include that everything is that divinity. You are that divinity. And so your body is also an expression.
Yes.
The statement, I'm not the body, is not a statement of truth, it is a technique to go about it, to the touch. And if somebody is totally obsessed with the physical existence, then it may be very helpful to learn to detach from that and say, I'm not the body, I'm not this, I'm not that. But your experience that you described from today is real. But actually, be observant the next time you go and you stay in that body sensation, then really watch. Actually, the body disappears. It's not more physical.
No.
If
True.
if you really put your attention to your body and become fully aware and are in the total experience, in the present, in the timelessness of the now, and you feel your body, the body disappears. There is no more physical body.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Actually, you come then to the same, that you're not getting stuck with the idea of physicality.
No. No, but I'm not stuck with the idea of physicality, but the physicality brings me home.
Yes, then use it.
It brings me home.
If that comes to you now so spontaneous and so natural, then by all means continue like this. Bring your attention to your experience right now, including the body and all physical sensations.
That's right.
And if you are really aware of them, the whole thing becomes transcendent. It's not that it remains in a little body form. I mean, it's nothing new. The tantric approach was always like this, of not rejecting and rejecting in 1880, but include, iti, everything is that divinity. Everything is an expression of the self.
I know. I studied that tantra stuff.
But it's corrupted how it's being taught today. But that is basically the basic idea. What you described before is, you can call that a tantric experience, a tantric way of approaching, and it comes to the same, whether you reject neti or whether you include, yes, everything is that. Everything is an expression of that. It comes to the same.
You know, Werner, it felt what was important, if anything that was important, was that it was a sense of reality. It just felt real.
Yes.
It was just the experience. And I know that tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up sore, and that's going to be the manifestation for tomorrow. That's okay. But it was just the experience. And now it's over.
Yeah.
During the time, it was beautiful. And that everything just fell into place for me. It just made sense. And the body just went. The body just flew. There was no control. I always had a ranunculus in the right corner of my eye, because I know from walking around. Kept it right there. And that energy is inside my body from my experiences in the past of being there. And that was also part of the journey. And that's what I wanted to share, because
it's don't think that there was something wrong. You just continue like this.
I'm a simple person. I like things to be real and non-judgmental, you know, just something that makes sense, and the body makes sense to me, you know. And I feel like I am the body, because it's the body that keeps me going. It's the body, you know, and I don't, and contrary to what you read, and expressions of the ideas of the body. I'm just coming back to the simplicity of I am the body. And my body, I know that when my spirit, whatever that means, leaves, my body is going to remanifest itself in whatever forms for eternity.
Anyhow, don't
so I relax. I relax.
Yes,
I relax.
Relax,
I
by
relax.
all means. But don't take Yuji's statements as God's own truth. He had a big ball shocking people that he enjoyed to say anything to people in order to shake them up a bit.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I felt comfortable with that.
Right.
I felt comfortable with that
Just
knowledge.
don't get stuck with the idea, I am the body.
No.
Use the body to bring the attention to that real experience, that the experience of being alive.
Yeah.
And then,
that's what
I
said,
felt.
If
you really focus on that, then in that experience of the body, actually the body disappears.
It does. The body does disappear.
And then the statement, I am not the body, or the statements, I am the body, both don't make sense anymore.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But I felt very comfortable today.
Good.
I just wanted to. I wanted to share that with you. And by the way, I listened to that podcast. Thank you for sharing your story. It was very special. Thank you.
This crazy fellow's crazy story.
Anyway, Om Shanti. Thank you.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hope I'll see you soon.
You're welcome. There's a little more time, if you like. We can have another question. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Oh, it's coming here again. Well. Since there is no question right now to be asked, let's stop it here. Although for me not so easy with that noise right here. So let's stop the satsang for today. I'm going to turn off the recording. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.